This video has gone through, I think, about 5 script changes because, like, honestly, there's been so many developments regarding this video. So this video is severely delayed. This thing should have came out in March. I'm really sorry. But I'm glad I finally get a chance to talk about this right before DZ 9 because there's quite a fair bit of changes and stuff going on. But I really need to get this video out of the way. For those of you who know me, you know what time it is. It is time to lose in style. Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mrs. 4 here. Today I am back to talk about encounters again, yay, because I just can't shut up about these things, can I? Today I'm here to talk about my favorite encounter, the King of Knights, Alfred. And I know you guys are gonna start clipping, oh, he keeps saying my favorite encounter every time he talks about an encounter deck. But I genuinely love these guys to death because these guys were my childhood and, you know, I love them very much. They are a huge part of my life. Today I'm talking about Alfred finally because recently in Vanguard Skyride, for those of you who don't know, they actually put a surprise on us. They brought IG Sendo back to Skyride and then they straight up just be like, oh yeah, so he's not playing Majesty Lord anymore, he's now just playing Alfred. Why? I don't know. And then they just squeezed him into Festival Booster, and then to make matters worse, they literally printed a promo card for him straight away out of the box, which is Gallatin, but he's technically cosplaying as Zero. And then we have Vyrgilla, who's technically cosplaying as Soul Saver. None of this makes any logical sense. If you went back just 1 year in time and told me, hey Ames, did you know now that your favorite manga characters are now cosplaying as literal 2010 cards, I'll probably not believe you. But today we are at this point in time where we are. So again, this is really quite hilarious and amazing. This video was originally supposed to be a video about Majesty Lord, but then Alfred came out and then a whole bunch of stuff happened, so yeah. Let's talk about the premise of the list, okay? So this list that I'm covering today for this deck profile is going to be based off the Skyride manga. Yes, so Alfred does have about one fight in the Skyride manga during the Korokoro issues of, if I'm not mistaken, April, May, June for 2025, and he's going to get a second fight, or at least that's what the most recent issue has alluded to, where he will now fight Zero. So this video's list currently is up to date with the release date of this video, which is June 2025. Or at least end May 2025 / June 2025. That is the most updated list we have with all the support from there. So if let's say tomorrow they literally announce a new promo card for this deck again, I'm sorry, this list is not accurate and this list is not accurate up to that manga chapter. But this video is accurate to that chapter before, which is the video, you know, it comes out at the same time. So yeah, basically I'm basing this list off that. Initially this video was meant to be oh, does the Skyride deck list work, and then I would invite someone, I don't know, maybe Mcrafter 3000 or maybe one other friends, and then we would test the list and see. But then again, one, he's very busy because he's a Twitter celebrity. Two is the more important fact that it wasn't even Majesty Lord, they just swapped it into Alfred, and I'm like, oh, okay. So Alfred himself only has like what, himself, Soul Saver, who is now under cosplay as Vyrgilla, and Zero, who is cosplaying as Gallatin, and that's all the support they have. The rest of this deck is actually built from a variety of Keter Sanctuary generics that IG does use in the manga. So IG went through these chapters like I think about 20 times just to make sure I got most of the cards correct. But I did have to make some edits. There are some edits to this list, so you will find out very soon. But of course I also had to add some cards inside because clearly there are cards missing. there are cards missing. We don't actually get his full deck list. They don't even have the deck list revealed yet. So like, if you're trying to build this right out of like a promotional material, I'm sorry, you cannot do that. But I'm gonna try my best to work this list backwards. The problem with this list is that, you know, while it is the correct list, frankly, Alfred does have weaknesses as a deck, which I will talk about later, not to worry. So I just wanted to get that clear. Other than that, let's get right to it, and then as we move on, we'll go through the deck discussion. Okay, so for the right deck, which I'll start off right here, we have Vanguard Brave, Marin, Ames, and Alfred. Again, a lot of people may not agree with this right deck. I have my own reasons for playing this right deck, not just out of nostalgia, but again, I will just say this first right off the bat. If you are interested in seeing me talk about more Alfred lists, because frankly there are a few ways to build Alfred, Let me know. If this video does well, I'll take it as an indication that you guys want more Alfred content. But if this video does disastrous, I'm probably just going to limit it to just this video for the opening wave. Okay, so first off is Vanguard Brave. Vanguard Brave, Marin, and Blaster Blade, surprisingly, have all been reprinted in Festival Booster 2025. So if you've bought Festival Booster 2025, you will have plenty of these guys. You do not need to go back to the original print. I, however, own the original print because obviously I've been playing Majesty Lord since, God knows how long. That being said, I will link my previous Majesty Lord Blaster deck profile because, he is the foundation of this right line. So, yeah, I think it's only right to talk about him, or at least just to mention it. But this deck has a few weaknesses and strengths as compared to MLB. So, Marin, his skill can only trigger with Vanguard Brave, which is when rolled upon a Grade 2 Blaster, you can write Blaster Blade, Blaster Dart, or Blaster Blade Vanguard. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose up to one Grade 2 Blaster from among them, add them to your hand. If you can't add, you can call one Vanguard Brave from your soul to the Rearguard Circle. So in the manga, what Aichi does is that he just doesn't search, he just calls Vanguard Brave, and now he's got a 16k column. Yes, it is true that we don't have a Vanguard representative, but it is nice, I guess. But again, this is a pretty decent way to build a board. You get a free guide, but I will move on to it later on why that may or may not be a problem. Of course, our Grade 2 is our trusty Blaster Blade. Blaster Blade's skill has not changed at all, which is when placed on a Vanguard Circle, +1, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards to retire. If you can't retire, you draw a card. So again, really effective in today's meta, especially because a lot of people are trying to go more and more aggressive for some stupid ass reason. But Blaster Blade is still Blaster Blade. You can still snipe off your opponent and punish them and rush back. I love my boy. His Rearguard skill, which is actually important in this deck, which is when placed on a Rearguard Circle, +1, choose one of your opponent's Grade 2 or greater Rearguard to retire it. Again, this skill will come up later because of this guy, the King of Knights, Alfred. So Alfred has multiple skills. In fact, he's got traffic light, so he's 1 red, 1 blue, 1 green. That's really hilarious. Yeah, we'll talk about the card more as we keep reading. So his first skill is during your turn. If you have Blaster Blade in your soul, it has to be the original Blaster Blade. This unit gains 2000 power for each one of your own rearguards, and this unit cannot be boosted. Okay, if this unit gains 8000 or more of this effect, and your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 2 or greater, this unit gets +1 critical. So again, I mean, that's an alright effect, right? It is literally just the original King of Knights Alfred skill, but it does require you to have Blaster Blade in the soul, which is kind of tough. So your soul wise, right? Like if you call out Vanguard Brave and you soul blast the Marin, that leaves you with just 1 soul, right? Because if you soul blast this Blaster Blade, you lose the game. But it's not too bad, I guess. The critical going second is really weird, considering they handed Majesty Lord going first crit. Like, I don't get why we're making cards weaker, but I mean, maybe they're really scared of Basagra happening again, so who knows. Second skill is Energy Blast 3. Search your deck for a Grade 3 or lower Royal Paladin from among them. Call it to Rearguard Circle. Choose one of the unit's auto abilities, and the next time you pay it, it is reduced by 1 Counter Blast. So this skill is actually a really strong skill, right? Because for 3 Energy Blast, you can search your deck for any Royal Paladin at all. Just as long as you play a name, you can 2-box it out. Call it to Rearguard Circle. Cut any of his skills by 1 CB. So basically speaking, for 3 energy points, you get 1 free guide and 1 subsidized cost. And 3 energy is basically 1 counter blast if you've done the math so far. Basically, for 1 CB or 1 resource point, you get 2 things. You get a free skill and a free guide. Insane. It is really good. Frankly, encounter decks always have a problem with energy because either they're too old and need to use freaking generics that cost I don't know, 3000 yen each, or they just burn so much energy like Dai Kaiser, where you go, what the hell is this deck doing? But this guy is a beautiful mix. He literally makes energy the entire way to build the board and build your offense. It is insane. It is frankly a really innovative skill. I'm really glad that they even thought about this to work with not just the older Royal Paladins like Blaster Blade, but it works with the newer ones such as Skeleton and Soul Saber. But the weakness is very clear. If you run out Royal Paladin names because you don't have that many, you can't use the skill. Yeah, you can't use the skill. So like if you overcall or over run out of Royal Paladin names in your deck, you straight up just cannot use the skill anymore. Which I know it sounds stupid on paper. I know some of you may be like, that's not gonna happen. It does. It actually does. There are some games where you actually just run out of Royal Paladin names, they go in the damage zone, they go in the hand and you guard, etc. You just can't use the skill. If you draw all your Royal Paladin names out, you can't use Alfred's skill to subsidize. It has to come from the deck, which is a bit of a problem. But our problems don't stop there. This last skill is when this unit attacks, counter +1, choose one of your at the end of battle, this unit attacks. Counter +1. Choose one of your grade 3 or less Royal Paladins. Just choose one of your Royal Paladins and you can stand it. Right? If your opponent's grade 3 or greater, you stand 2 instead of 1. Again, that may sound really good on paper because I can stand my rear guards for 1 CD, but they don't get power at all. Like, you just see me want to just stand rear guards. Like, sure, I mean, yeah, it is multi-attack, sure, but like your numbers are ass, man. Like, you're just standing rears. Like, your rears include this guy. Like, you for real? So it's not too good right now in terms of the support. But as a boss unit, Alfred is really cool. Alfred really has such innovative design. They made him balance as well. And yeah, I'm really, really happy about this Alfred. Most Alfreds, if you have played Alfred as long as I have, which is my whole life, you will know that traditionally they either make the Alfred insanely powerful like Monarch Sanctuary, or they just nerf him to hell, right? Like Alfred Oath. Like, I literally have an entire album of different Alfreds just sitting right here. I could just flip through them and even show them on camera. There are some times where they just make the Alfred really strong, like for example the original Alfred Early, where you get a free guy, and that's really good in 2011. But there are some Alfreds that they printed well that really make you wonder, what the hell were they thinking? Like, you look at V Alfred. I don't have V Alfred right now on hand, but if you look at stuff like V Alfred, all 3 V Alfreds are terrible, right? They age really badly. They're just one place effects or glorified surges, and then you just get a bit of power and a bit of crit to tickle your opponent's balls and end their turn. And that sucks because you don't actually achieve anything. This Alfred does everything. He builds your board, he subsidizes you, he gets a crit if you're going second for some reason, and then he just, restands units. So like, frankly, the skeleton for this deck is there. The boss unit is actually really good if you just look beyond the obvious flaws in his support. The boss wise, this guy is insane. So that's really my only gripes with this deck. Like, if I could just conclude the video right here, I know I have a section on Alfred later, but like, frankly, Alfred as a boss unit is really good, and they've somehow managed to nail a lot of the encounter bosses in terms of the boss itself. Like, Vermilion was really good as a boss unit. Ezel is pretty okay as a boss unit. Blonde Ezel, we'll get into Platinum next time. Stuff like Lucre, Maelstrom is really good. Minerva also is pretty hot from what I've heard. Like, most of the encounter bosses as cards, they actually nail it. They just never get the support right for most of them, which is kind of frustrating, to be honest. And if we move on to the grade 3s, the grade 3s are pretty simple. We play 4 Alfred, 1 in the right deck, and 1 is my Persona copy. We also play 4 copies of Soul Sailor Dragon, who is cosplaying as Vyrgilla. Yes, I know not many of you watched my Vyrgilla video. I know who you are. And of course we have Ladder as our Regalis piece. Now, I actually didn't use Ladder as your Regalis piece, but I am from personal testing, because if you just do not have a way to protect your board, you lose the game, right? Alfred, as we all know from like as old as time, that he is a board reliant deck. So if you are not protecting your board, you are doing something sincerely wrong. Okay, so just make sure you have that board protection. You will thank me. You will be grateful. And of course, Alfred, we are playing 4 Persona because 1, yes, we want a Persona that stands out from our rear guards. But the other reason is actually because both Soul Saver and Galadin, Mr. Zero Tendo, all have skills that link to having Alfreds in Soul and Persona right this turn. So strangely, they recreated Hexorb Sorcerers. I don't know why. Like, it's such a... I'm so sorry, move the match. It's such a weird design space to go for, but they just did that. And I'm really not sure why. In a format where literally Batman or Adele Grandma can just nuke you from 0 to 8 damage in 1 turn, why am I locked to behind Persona? Like, what does the Drive +1 do? I don't know. But okay, let's get to that. So I'll move Alfred away just for a bit. I'll bring up Mr. Soul Saver. Now, Soul Saver is also known as Vyrgilla, which means in the future they will print a Soul Saver in the normal print. They're not gonna just keep Zero and Vyrgilla as, you know, Royal Paladin. They will eventually print the original because they now cite them in name. So for those of you who are worried about, oh, I don't like these arts, or oh, I hate Skyride, firstly, you're wrong. Secondly, don't worry, you won't be keeping these cards around for longer. And frankly, I too missed the original Zero and the original Soul Saver and Gallatin, so I would like them back as well. Soul Saver here, or Mr. Vyrgilla, is the main beatstick of this deck. And that's hilarious considering all the flack I gave Alfknights. This guy is all just numbers, right? It's really just pure Soul Saver. He's just numbers, but he doesn't actually plus. Or does he? During your turn, if you have a Grade 3 Greater Vanguard with Alfred in his name, this unit gains 5,000 power. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 Greater, it gains all of the skills below. The first skill is, at the start of your battle phase, auto on the front row rearguard circle, counterblast 1. Choose up to 3 of your units and give them 5,000 power. If you persona right, choose every unit on your board instead. I'll move on to the second skill first. At the end of the bat, when this unit attacks, if this unit has been stood by the effect of your Vanguard, Alfred, okay, you can, if this unit has not performed drive checks this turn, Soul Blast a King of Knights Alfred from your soul. And if you do, this unit can reduce its drives to 1 and then perform drive checks. So, where do I begin with this one? Where do I begin with this? First and foremost, the fact that he's an 18k beatstick is nice, right? Soul Saver having his own power is good. If you've played OG Soul Saver, you know that the plus 3k to the Vanguard was actually one of his strongest skills, right? It wasn't actually the only judging role, but it has aged really bad. Like, Equilibra just coughs out 88k rearguards as a hobby, right? And I have to literally play an 18k grade 3 to pay another counterblast to then give 3 units 5,000 power, which traditionally you just give it to the rearguards. You won't give it to Alfred. And you also can't give it to the unit behind Alfred because Alfred can't be boosted, right? So, like, what exactly is the point? Like, you're just giving 3 units 5k, and then if your opponent pulls a defensive, you're out. So, I know they can't print too much power on this card because, you know, they don't want to, you know, push Royal Paladin too far, which is fair. But, like, I feel like this is a bit too overbalanced, especially the second skill. Like, he has to be stood for the second battle, then you Soul Blast Alfred, then he gets the drive -1. Like, that means you can only do this Alfred skill on turn 4. If you persona right the Alfred on top of the Alfred, then you get the Alfred to Soul Blast. And then to make matters worse, like, the only other way you can cheat this condition right now is through stuff like Coco, who is, you know, very expensive, or you can use Drilling Angel. But even then, Drilling Angel doesn't really have a space in this deck because it's a net 0 and it's a grade 2. Because it's a grade 2, you don't have spots on the front or rear guards because your rear guards are always going to be Royal Paladins, right? It's either going to be one of these 3. These are the main 3 Royal Paladins we are playing in the deck. So again, I ask myself, how did they let this through QA? Like, really cool design aside, like, this is just really overforced of a card. You can tell what they wanted to do and they just didn't do it, which, you know, it really sucks. But my criticisms for Soul Saver or Vyrgilla do not apply to Zero or Gallatin, and I will show you why right now. For our grade 2s, we play 1 Blaster Blade in the, you know, the right deck. So again, if you forgot what he does, just scroll back a little bit. And we also play another 3 copies of Blaster Blade in the main deck, which will surprise most people. Most people don't actually do this, but I've actually had pretty good success with them, so I will explain why. We play 4 copies of Knight of the Starry Sky Zero, who is Gallatin, 4 copies of Luviron, who is the Gay Cycler, the Pride Cycler, and then 2 copies of Mabel. Most of these options come straight from the manga, right? You know about Luviron, who is the Pride Cycler, who generates you 1 of these shield tokens upon a Soul Blast if you call it to a rearguard or discard it for the right deck. And he's also a magic number beatstick where if he attacks a grade 3 or greater opponent, he gains 5. Again, I'm playing him as well because it's manga accurate, that's what IG used. But I do have an issue with this card because he costs Soul, which Soul's actually pretty tight in this deck. So I'm not sure if we'll actually keep Luviron around much longer, but he was in the manga and he is still pretty okay. But like he's potentially on the cutting block. I'll be frank, I don't see him being kept around for long. But he is actually a pretty optimal option going first because you don't have Emmeline anymore, which Majesty Lord does. So again, it is pretty contentious, and he does give shield, right? Which Alfred has very little draw on this deck. And he only has one card that draws, which is Knight of the Starry Sky 0. This card is by far the strongest clan support we've gotten, and I'm not even lying. Like, if you play Royal Paladin, you have to play this guy. Then again, if you're playing Majesty Lord, you've already lost, right? So realistically, you only have this deck. Alt Mao, if you believe in Alt Mao. So what does this guy actually do besides counting himself as Gallatin? If you have a Royal Paladin Vanguard, this cost can be paid with Energy Blast 3. So that's pretty nice. It's a flexible CB1 or EB3 cost. When placed on a rearguard circle, if you do not have another card with the same name as this unit, either Zero or Gallatin, okay, you can't cheat that condition. You can CB1 or EB3 and draw a card. That's really neat. That is the only skill in Alfred that draws, and that's Gallatin. And the fact that it's locked to just Gallatin means that when you run out of Gallatins, you also effectively lose the game. This guy is the most effective Royal Paladin on turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, turn 6. And it sucks that you have no way to loop him or no way to keep him safe. If you just lose your copies of Zero, you lose the game. Which sucks because I actually really love Zero. He is my favorite protagonist in Vanguard for a while now. And I would not like him to die so soon. His second skill is that when this unit attacks, if this unit has been stood by the effect of your Royal Paladin Vanguard this turn, Counterblast 1. Oh, and if you Persona right this turn, yeah. Counterblast 1, and until the end of this battle, your opponent cannot use auto abilities for this card's attack. So it stopping auto abilities stops off your opponent's Vanguard's auto abilities. So like for example, if your opponent has a skill that triggers on your opponent's attack, you can just seal it off. So there is no defensive skill you can trigger here. It also stops hostage as well, which is pretty nice. It stops perfect guards as well. It doesn't stop orders, but it does stop anything with an auto ability on it, which is really nice. I do appreciate it. But why does this have to cost Counterblast again? Like, literally, the entire Soul Saver attacks to do anything costs Counterblast, right? And Alfred takes a Counterblast each turn to, do his turn, do his multi-attack. And then to make matters worse, the grade 2 in the right deck, Blaster Blade, also takes a Counterblast. So, like, I don't know, like, this deck is really quite CB heavy in my opinion. And the only counter charger we have is Dean Drain, technically, which I don't even play, by the way, because I think Dean Drain is really bad. So, like, honestly, I don't even know why they needed to print so much Counterblast in this deck. I hope they do resolve this issue soon. But that is definitely one of the most outstanding issues of this deck, which is Counterblast. And last but not least, 4 copies of Blaster Blade. Two reasons we're playing him in the main deck. One, he is a Royal Paladin name, right? So especially if you're going first, if you don't want to dedicate your Gallatins and Soul Saver, you can actually just call out Armas, just use him as a 10k beat stick, stand him again, and it's still not too bad going first, right? And secondly, he is a toolbox option because Alfred calls any Royal Paladin from the deck. If you desperately need an opponent's rearguard to go down like a Stra Vyrgilla, you can just fish out Armas to do the shooting for you, and it's completely fair. So as much as I know people will not agree with this option, and people will say, oh, he's playing the Armas card because he's Armas. Honestly, this guy is really slept on. Like, if you try at least just 1 to 2 copies of Armas in your main deck, it's going to give you the actual utility you never thought you had. Again, this choice may actually be rescinded because, eventually down the line, as we do get better Royal Paladins, we will not have space for Armas in the main deck. But another reason that I've come to appreciate is because if you fight against Prison, you can use Coco to put Blaster Blade back in the soul and restore your Alfred's continuous effect, because Alfred's continuous effect only triggers when Blaster Blade's in the soul. So again, there is a lot of weird micro decision making that does come with this deck. So again, I do recommend you test it out. There's a reason why this video has taken so long as well. I have been fighting non-stop to get a list out, and it has been very difficult, I won't lie. So that's it. Lastly, to Maple. Maple's skill is very simple. It's just when your grade 3 Vanguard's placed, you call it the rearguard circle. First of all, this is a Persona based deck. Secondly, this is a deck that needs a full field, so Maple is just a free body you can throw around. It it helps, okay? It does contribute. But of course, you don't actually use it as an attacker or anything because, you know, you don't do much. For our grade 1s, we have 1 Marin in the right deck. We play 4 copies of Coco. We play 1 of the grade 1 Maple. Yeah, we actually play her in this deck as well, which I will explain why in a bit. We have 4 Perfect Guards as well. I mean, if we don't play Perfect Guards, we lose the game, right, guys? And then we also have 4 copies of Paramount, and that will wrap it up. So yeah, again, most of these are manga accurate. They are the exact same cards. I even had to go out on like a really long train ride to buy extra copies of this just for this video, but I'm glad. You know what? I'm glad. Just for Skyride, just for IG. So these are his perfect guards that he used, but frankly, any perfect guard doesn't matter. I'm playing 1 Marin in the right deck. Marin, of course, is a relatively controversial option because people will immediately ask you to, you know, consider other cards like playing the olden right line. What's her name? I forgot her name. Tranquilia. The real reason why I'm keeping Marin around as well, besides calling Vanguard Brave, is technically speaking, if you don't want to call Vanguard Brave to a back row, you can just 2-box out your Blaster Blade instead as a grade 2 10k beat stick on turn 2. Which again is another interaction you only get if you build this list, because like there's so many weird interactions with the Royal Paladin cards that and then encounter cards that you just don't think about until you actually try this deck. It is weird. Again, this list isn't even the best list. It doesn't even win much because Alfred's just not that good as a deck. But in terms of playing, it's really fun because of all these funny things you can just pull off and go, hey, I can actually fight back against certain conditions like being CB denied, so on and so forth. Who knew? Grade 1 Maple is in the same slot as Grade 2 Maple for the exact same reason, but Grade 1 Maple only triggers when you Persona Ride, and she only works on the same name as herself, so that's basically why I only play 1. We're playing for Coco. Coco is the encounter generic from DZBT06. You will recognize her from my Majesty Lord video, the last one. Coco is in this list for all the same reasons as any other list that plays Coco. You're using her just for the quick net 0 cycle from 1 card to your hand to the soul and then top 2. She is also an emergency 15k shield, which is not too bad. And she does have a very strong interaction by moving cards from hand to the soul, which is you can actually cheese out Alfred earlier to use for your Soul Saver Dragon. Again, this is a very expensive card, and frankly, I don't blame you if you don't want to buy this card for this deck. I'm playing it first and foremost because it's manga accurate. Secondly, because it does help in that small niche. Frankly, I do expect them to solve this niche soon, so you may not even need to buy this one. You could just skip it. Another manga accurate card is Paramount. Paramount is basically Vibatsuka, the Overflyer, but for Royal Paladin. When placed on the Vanguard circle, card blast 1, you can choose a card from your hand and call it. If you do, draw 1. And then if you have a Great Shield Keter Vanguard, this unit gains 5000 power during your turn. So basically, she's just Silver Fan Witch, she's a Vibatsuka, etc. etc. It's just a CB1 draw 1, which I understand. I do know Card Blast is very tight in this deck. But 1, this is manga accurate. And 2, and the more fun part is that it basically allows you to go full aggro on turn 2 if your opponent gives you 1 counter blast, right? You can do the exact thing IG does in the manga and pull off a full board of 6 cards, which is very strong. It's a very strong rush. But you know, if you do get CB denied, or if you just don't have the cards to call, it is pretty bad. So again, Paramount is also another card I probably may cut in the future, but for now I'm keeping her because she actually is pretty neat. And then for our grade 0s, we play our trusty Vanguard Brave. He's still here no matter what. I love this little boy. He's my favorite. But again, if you don't want to play the Marin right line with, the other stuff, you can just cut him out of the deck because he is too much of a telltale sign for encounter decks. We play for heal. We play for crits. We play 8 crits. Okay, I'm playing for the Shadowverse crits because I do play Alfred in Shadowverse, so I thought it's a nice reference. These heals, these crits are exactly the same that IG used. Same with 3 fronts. I don't know why IG plays fronts, shield fronts to be exact, but like, sure, I guess he wants to be more aggressive. And hilariously, he also plays Ido's Far, which is the exact overtrigger that Majesty Lord Blaster players have been using for virtually forever. So yeah, I mean, this was really fun that IG is really in the same veins as a lot of Royal Paladin users and playing almost the same thing. I don't know whether France is the correct option, but I guess you want to go full aggro, that's fine. It's okay. And yeah, that does wrap up the list for my Alfred deck profile. Actually, that's a lie. This isn't even my deck profile anymore. This is Nek's deck profile, if you think about it. Because Nek is the technical advisor for Skyride, so you know, it's technically his list. It's just that I filled in the gaps based on the details we've not seen from the next chapter. Honestly though, as much as I love Nek and Skyride, this list has a lot of flaws. You can tell that this list was built with the maximum amount of generics possible to try and make a really rush and aggro game plan, but there are some obvious flaws in not just this list, but in every Alfred list. I've seen people with Alfred play Hostage for some silly reason. I've seen people with Alfred play Caterpillar, which is like, it's getting more and more ridiculous by the day because they are all not focusing on the synergies at hand, which is Royal Paladin. Then again, if you do focus on the Royal Paladin synergies, you will lose because all the Royal Paladins in this deck, besides Gallatin, are complete crap. So, like, do you want me to start playing Key and Bedivere? Is that what you want me to do? I don't know. Frankly, I think Alfred is a really strong boss, but his support and lack of support leaves a lot to be desired. Alfred will be a popular pick for your local tournaments, not just because he's an enduring fan favorite, but because he is actually pretty good and cheap if you buy it at the right time. But like all the generics and all the other weird stuff you throw in here, it can be a turn off, very honestly. But the good news is that they are very likely to solve it in the future. Alfred definitely will get support in December and later on down the line, because if Majesty Lord Blaster is anything to prove by, they will find some weird ass way to pump a promo back into this deck and kick Alfred back to life. And you know what? That's the best I can ask for right now, because I would really love to play this guy in a high level tournament, be it a regional or national level. I would really love to play Alfred. But yeah, that being said, that's really all I have to say. I think if you are a fan of this deck, pick it up, pick up the parts sheet, but don't buy the expensive generics because you can't skip on it. There is a chance they'll just be thrown out next set anyways. I'm only buying all of them because one, I love Alfred to death, and two, I wanted to recreate, a manga accurate deck. For people who know me, I am a huge sucker of the Vanguard manga, so even having a fight like this meant the world to me. And that brings me to my next segment, which is Skyride promotion. Yay, I'm not sponsored, but I love this manga to the point where I even got the English version, because I actually started learning English personally from the original Vanguard mangas I read as a kid, and the Vanguard dub, for those of you who remember that, in 2011. Yeah, I am frankly really impressed with this. It's been a year since Skyride came out, and I really like it. It feels a lot like OG Vanguard style. It feels a lot like Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, especially in the first part, and I cannot recommend it enough. Like, if you are not a fan of the modern Vanguard anime with their way they script fights, you will love Skyride to death, because it is so much more faithful to the original, and it is frankly a lot of fun. There's a lot of weird stuff in there, a lot of weird random collaborations, because this is a Koro title, so they do have some random ass characters showing up. But you know what, it's all for the fun of it. And right now they're in some Cray Wars arc. I won't spoil it, but it is getting pretty interesting. You guys do like Alfknights, right? You guys do love Estastion, right? So yeah, definitely please read it if you've not read it. Either buy the official book or Koro, or you can just read the translations online. There are some pretty cool people that do the translations. I will shout out one of them personally. The one that I have actually found and been following for a while and I've been reading, and that is, I need to make sure I pronounce his name right. I don't want to slur it. 1 second please. Where is his name? I literally saved it on my phone. Yes, Emmett TTC. Thank you. I hope I didn't kill that. Thank you so much for translating the Vanguard mangas. Not just Skyride, but just in general. I do appreciate your work. If you haven't checked him out, do check him out. I will go and find a personal link of his if I can, and I will put it in the description below. So yeah, again, not sponsored. I don't even know this guy personally. But I just thought I do want to shout him out because, you know, people who help the Vanguard community like Fuzzy Paradox and this guy, you should be remembered, you should be known. And yeah, that will wrap up my video for Alfred and Skyride. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. And for all of you who have stuck around, congratulations, you have now reached my personal Yap segment, because yeah, it's been a very long time since I've actually got a chance to record a video, so I will take that opportunity to talk. Because yeah, I did receive some feedback recently about someone saying that I yap a lot and that my thoughts aren't organized. Too bad. You can call me a yapper, because the whole point of YouTube is yapping. That's the whole point of this platform. That's what the Y in YouTube stands for, yapping. But please don't say my stuff is disorganized. It doesn't hurt my feelings or anything, but that's just an outright lie, because I actually write all my scripts, at least for most of my videos, and I do label my videos according to video chapters. So if anything, you can't really say I'm disorganized, right? Like that kind of doesn't fit with the argument at hand. But yeah, like if you are watching my videos, you are here to see me yap. Like that is the point. I'm sorry. If you don't want to see me yap, don't watch the video, okay? Just do me a favor. And two, I also want to address this as well, because this has been a recurring topic. I know I do talk about video requests and whatnot, but I'm gonna be honest, it takes me a lot of time to even do a single video. Behind every video I do goes not just one, researching for the deck lists and the deck profiles, B, me having to go out and buy the cards, and C, me then testing it, making sure I have a list I'm confident about, and then presenting it. In this deck alone, I've waited at least like 3 weeks individually for not just a book promo where I had to queue up at a bookstore and beat up some children to get it. I had to go and queue up at freaking, you know, DivineZ to get this, and then not to mention I have to go and buy all the freaking ass Keter generics that, like, you know, nobody would sell at a reasonable price, especially, you know, this. So like, I'm just using this example, but like it does take me a lot of time for me to actually do a deck profile. Okay, so I'm sorry to disappoint. I know there are probably people who want me to do videos faster, and I do appreciate it. You guys want me to do more videos, right? I would like to do more videos for you too. It is something I do for myself and for you guys. But please understand, it does take me a heck of a lot of time, and I do also have a lot of other personal commitments, which just frankly doesn't help. On that topic as well, since I also am still talking, I am just gonna throw in another announcement here. My Ezel video is not ready. Okay, I'm sorry, my Ezel video is just not ready. If for those of you who've seen the Ezel reviews and the Ezel, you know, the Ezel reveals and reviews, you know that these cards aren't too good, right? Let's be honest, who are we lying? So, like, I need a lot more time to test it. I'm sorry, it's gonna take a while. I cannot present a list I'm half-hearted on. It needs more time in the oven. So the same way I took a lot of time to do Alfred, I do ask for your cooperation and your patience to please wait. I will cover Platinum Ezel. If you know me, you know I will, because I am a huge Ezel fan. But I frankly just need more time because the card is just way too bad, okay? So yeah, so that also being said as well, another announcement I have to put in for the next video segment is that after this video, the Alfred video, and then the Platinum video, when I eventually get it done, I do have to take another hiatus for a month. Yes, I know, I don't like to take hiatuses too, but I have a lot of personal deadlines that are queuing up, and I have other personal obligations that need to be settled very urgently. Even though, yes, I know last time the hiatus was also because my devices broke, I had to go, you know, save up and buy a new one. I have perfectly good devices now. It's just I just don't have that much time to either test the decks or sit down and talk about it. So a lot of my videos for DZBT09 in particular are going to be delayed till July. Okay, I will do Platinum first once I can solve him, but the rest of the videos, like say Kaiser or, you know, Nebula Knights, I will get guests on, but they will be delayed. Okay, so again, I'm very sorry. I hope you guys are excited for them because they are pretty hype decks from pretty hype moments. But personally, I just don't have the time to do them that quickly. I have quite a fair bit of stuff on my plate. I also am preparing for a huge tournament at the same time, so you know, if I win, who knows, right? But other than that, yeah, that's really about all I can say. Thank you all so much for watching to this point. Thank you for everyone who supported me. I really appreciate the support. I will see you all next time. Stay safe, and last but not least, please be nice.